Welcome to the VetsConnection podcast with your host, Scott McLean.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Scott McLean. My guest today is Jose Lopez Rodriguez. Jose is a Transitional Patient Advocate M2VA at the Department of Veterans Affairs in West Palm Beach, Florida. How you doing, Jose?
I'm good. How you doing?
Welcome to the kitchen studio.
It's amazing.
Well, unfortunately, the chef called in sick today, so there's no lunch. I had it all lined up. It was going to be a big spread, but help these days, right?
That's good. Whatever will do it.
What it will do. So, Jose, tell the listeners what a Transitional Patient Advocate does and what's the M2VA designation?
So we're starting M2VA is military 2VA program. So it used to be a program that we deal with combat veterans. And since the war started slowing down, we changed it to anybody that served after 9/11. Within that job, with that program, the military 2VA program, I'm the Transitional Patient Advocate. My main job is to deal with service members. Well, they're still in active duty. Around 6 months out before they retire, what I do is I talk to them and try to connect them with the VA services and continue whatever medical services they were getting in the military. Now, that's half of my job. The other half of my job is to find those veterans that are already out of the service. By doing outreach, I'll find them out there, connecting with the VA, connecting with appointments, whatever their needs are at the moment, kind of guide them, to whatever their needs at that time.
So that's an interesting concept. So you get them from the VA, you get to the veterans before they get out, like 6 months prior.
We kind of focus more on the medically retired veterans. So you are going through any medical issue where the military say, you cannot do your job anymore. They transition you to the VA so the VA can continue your medical services. So that's the main concept. Especially with a lot of them that they're, get out, you're lost, now you got to adjust to your civilian life. Everything that you knew is new for you now in the outside. So what we do, we kind of connect them. We have a team of 2 caseworkers, case manager, social workers, 1 nurse, and 1 supervisor. We take care of them, especially those guys that have TBI, PTSD, and they feel lost when they come out. We're trying to guide them so they can get the better services, especially with the combat guys. They have special services that most veterans don't get. So the program is focused on that. It's focused on giving those benefits to those veterans that they need it the most.
So it's more medical oriented. It is medical oriented.
It is medical oriented. We also brief them about other benefits, like, for example, they don't know about their GI Bill, the VA home loans. They have any questions about all the other benefits that they earn while they were serving. So we brief them, we connect them with those services, and if they need anything from the community, we will also connect them with that community resource.
So 6 months out, and do you go to the military installations?
You're right now in active duty, and you're planning to retire. You go through the medical process. Back in the day, we didn't have this process, but they call it the IDIS process. So what the IDIS process does is that it will connect you with the VA before you get out. So you can apply for your disabilities before you get out. What they give you is like a proposed rating. So when you are out, about a month, 60 days out, you start collecting your checks without waiting the long wait period that sometimes we have to wait after we get out of the service. So you're like a regular veteran and you put your retirement package and you leave. Now, when you got out, you have to put your claims on your own. But if you do the military 2VA program in the base with the IDIS system, what's going to happen is you're going to have a caseworker together with you. We call it VA liaisons. So VA liaisons are in every military base across the United States. And they will make referrals to places, including us, the VA. And that's how we get those guys. Now, it's not only my only job. Half of the other job is to find them out there. One of the main things I do is every morning, anybody that comes to my enrollment team and they are post 9/11 veterans, they come in my list and I call each one of them talking about 100, 200, 300 veterans every month that we call now. If they answer or not, that's a different story. But at least we trying to connect with them to see if they need case management. If they have a post 9/11, if they serve in the post 9/11 era, I will call them. At least anybody in West Palm Beach. I have there's TPS in every major VA, so they do the same.
Wow. So you're out there cold calling people,
Yes.
veterans, to let them know this is available.
Yes. We also go to Yellow Ribbons, National Guard bases, reserve bases. There's any base that we have close by. I work together with the Miami VA, and they go to the Southcom. There's no major military bases in West Palm Beach area.
Right, yeah.
So what we focus are on the bases that we have. We got Coast Guard, Navy Reserve, Army Reserves, and we kind of participate with them, especially when they have Yellow Ribbons. The Yellow Ribbon is a program the Army has that when you get out, you go there, you get all the briefings, all the information, they talk to you, they talk to your family, and they give you everything in one package. That wasn't done since they started like in 2001.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So this started in 2001, this whole program, well, I'll tell you, I wish it was around when I was getting out.
Well, we learned from the Vietnam vets and the Gulf War, all the things that we might need, and now we're doing it. We're doing it. We are there calling veterans, trying to connect them with the care that they deserve and need, and we do this every day.
That's great, man. That's great work. See, I didn't know any of this.
Yes.
And this is why we do this.
Exactly.
This is why we do this. If one veteran hears this podcast, then we made a difference. You made a difference.
Yes, they can always connect with me. They can go to the VA. Enrollment will alert me if we have a post 9/11 veteran, and I will talk to them about the benefits, what they need. Now, it's a main concept because my job is VHA, Veterans Health Administration. So I work for the hospital itself. Most of the veterans that you see out there, they want to talk about their benefits themselves. That's BVA.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the case, that they want to talk about their benefits and compensation, I will refer them to the specialty, and that will be a veteran service officer. We have plenty of them. They work for the state, they work for the county. They will put your claims in and help you out. But we focus more about your health and what the VA can do. We're talking about mental health, physical health, got TBI, PTSD, any problem with your knee, your back, and we'll connect you with the right resource that you might need for that particular situation.
And is that just for post 9/11 veterans?
So it's also, again, my focus is post 9/11 veteran, but I'm out there in the community. I'm gonna see any type of veterans. So
right.
in the community is a little bit different because I'm not getting referrals from a medical facility. So what I will do is I will connect them with the care, see if they qualify for benefits, if they can qualify for the PAC Act. That's a big thing right now in the VA.
Yeah.
If they were exposed, who they talk to, who they have to register with. I connect them with the VA and set up appointments so they can continue their care at the VA.
So you and I, we've met more than a few times at different outreach events through either the VA or Mission United. I've heard your story, and you're very honest with it. Do you mind sharing some of that?
Definitely. I brought my wife because of that.
Yes.
She's here with us.
Very lovely wife for the listeners. Very lovely wife, by the way.
So we have a particular story because all the programs that I mentioned, I participate and as an employee, but also as a veteran myself. I serve in the Puerto Rican National Guard, and I did that 13 years in there from 2002 to 2013. And then after that, I have a break-in service. In that break-in service, after 3 combat deployments, I went to Iraq in 2005. That's when I first became a veteran. Went to the VA getting services, but I wasn't really into getting the services that I needed. I didn't know a lot. Then I kept going to deployments. My last one was in Djibouti, Africa. One of the particulars is that I was a reserve. So with the reserves, we were talking before that they have a particular situation. We have the best of both worlds, but at the same time, we have to keep both worlds open and nice. For example, you are good in the military, you got to keep up with that. But you have to have a civilian job so you can maintain yourself. And that also is a challenge because Maybe you got problems with employers because you got to take off to go to the reserves and so on. Anybody that's serving the reserves, they know that you have to keep both, and it's always a challenge. One of the biggest things that happened to me was after my last deployment to Africa, when I came back, I lost my job because of the same situation. Then came back home, talked to my wife. She convinced me to come to Florida. We moved everything. We used to live in Puerto Rico. We're from Puerto Rico. We did everything over there. And then we tried a new challenge and we moved to Florida. Well, little did I know, I was diagnosed with PTSD, and the pressure and the challenges of the civilian life, I couldn't keep up, where I became drinking a lot of alcohol. I was angry all the time. I didn't know how to handle my emotions. My wife kept telling me, you need help. And I was reluctant to go to the VA, but with her support and her telling me every day, I finally ended up going to the VA, asked for help. I went actually to the post-deployment clinic, the military to VA program. I spoke with a social worker. That social worker connected me with all the cares that I need, including substance abuse for alcohol, anger management, group therapy, PTSD therapy. I ended up getting diagnosed. My first rating was really high. We were homeless because of that. My family, not my wife, I'm talking about my auntie. I used to live with my auntie here in Florida. We have problems because they didn't know how to handle me. I was an angry person. I hated everything. I couldn't stand. Imagine you being a superhero for your country and coming and now going back to your house and losing everything. You now lost your identity. You lost everything that you know. You know, in one place they welcomed you. You're a great warrior. You came back home, and then not having anything. So that was a really hard time in our life. And from there, again, without the help of the VA, I wouldn't know the services that we have. They have a program, it's called Hub Badge. That program, what it does is provide you with an apartment for the low income. And then what you do is you go to that apartment, you follow the rules, and you stay there as long as you need to. You pay half the rent, and then they pay the other half. That was good for the time because at that time, we didn't have nothing. The rents in Florida were not the same as Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico back then, a 3-bedroom is like $300. And we got here, it was $1,000. And you're talking about before COVID. Now, it's even worse. But at that time, we needed a lot. What we did is we used the program, and while I was in the program, I kept going back to college. I finished my degree, and after I finished my degree, while I was getting therapy almost every day, I used to travel to the VA 3 times a week in the train or in the bus until I got, confident enough to go out there. One of the good things is that while I was going to college, the VA have a program for interns. And I used that as a benefit for myself. And I went to the VA, I met a lot of people, and I ended up getting hired as a peer specialist. What is a peer specialist? It's a veteran that been through it and recovered, and now I teach others how to recover from it. In that program, I used to find homeless veterans in the community. In Palm Beach County, a lot of the people know me because of that. I went out there, I used to go to the Woodlines, anywhere there was homeless camps, and I would find a veteran, get in an apartment, and move on. That was part of my therapy for many, many years. Being through the situation that we went through, now helping others, it was amazing. Because you can see when you get those keys to that veteran, and that veteran been there for 10 years. I've seen guys that 20 years in the street, and they get the first apartment, they're in shock. And it's an amazing feeling. And 2021, I became the Transitional Patient Advocate. I see my leadership saw what I was doing and how good I was at it, and then they gave me a promotion to this job. And this job now I'm, promoting the VA everywhere I go, telling the veterans what I did, how I did it, and if they can do it too. There's a lot of services in the VA. We have employment. That's where I did my internship. I got the housing program. I got the post-deployment program. I also got problems with my back. We still struggling with PTSD. That's going to be forever. I keep going to appointments. and they didn't fail me. Now, being realistic, everything is perfect. Sometimes you're gonna go to the VA, you're gonna have a bad day. It's like everything else. But if you take it in a different way, then you might benefit from what they have. There's a lot of things that you don't know, and then you're like reluctant, and you're like, I don't want to take this. I don't want to do this. But give you a chance, give you an opportunity. Try it. Let's see. One of the things that will let us appear, if, for example, when we're talking about medications, the doctor can give you 20 medications. I don't know what the medication is going to do to me unless I try it. Now, I try almost everything they did, exposure therapy, medications. I went out there to do Tai Chi. I did a lot, even fishing for therapy. It was amazing. And all those things together kind of help. Another benefit that the VA has that we don't talk about is couples therapy. We did a lot of couples therapy, especially the vet center. They do that for us. One of the things that we face, especially as a couple, is that she didn't know how to deal with me. I didn't know how to deal with anybody. So the VA kind of offer her a lot of help when it comes to, teaching her how to deal with me so we can be better as a family. Also help me control myself with my kids, because as a parent that is being facing with PTSD, you have no patience. And a lot of those kind of help me. VA have a lot of good things. They are really focused on the mental health. It's better to deal with somebody that can understand you. As a veteran, we don't talk to people. If you're not in the service, we don't really like to talk to you because it feels like you don't understand. But there's a lot of people there, especially the VA. They hire a lot of people that been there, or they have a family member that know what you went through. You never know. I've seen people that you never thought they are veteran, and they are.
Yeah. That's, well, buddy, I don't know what to say. That's a great story, man. It's a beautiful story. It's a successful story, and because of your lovely wife.
Yes.
Right? That support. I've seen things go the other way, without that support. So I'm looking for the listeners. I'm looking at his wife saying, "God bless you." Good job.
She's my blessing.
That's
Thanks
right.
to one of the things I noticed dealing with veterans is been dealing with veterans in this job of 10 years is that they don't have a really strong support system. I was blessed. I have a strong support system. When I can do it, my mother-in-law, my family, my sisters, they all call me and they try to help me the best as they can. But she's the only one that actually got more into it because she's here with me. I mean, you're homeless and she don't leave you, keep her.
God bless that, buddy. I don't think you can put it any other way.
No.
That's the keeper.
Keeper.
That's right. That's right. But that also goes the other way too.
Yes.
For female veterans, right?
Yes.
They're kind of in the shadows of all that. People don't realize they go through the same things that men go through.
You go
with husbands and children, and so. We're not. I don't want anybody listening to think that we're leaving them out. They are a big part of. They go through the same things we go through, and you went through some of the stuff I went through. I went through some of the stuff you went through. You said you were a peer support.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring up my interview from last week with Henry from the Firewatch, and that was one of the things he mentioned. He said they had peer support. Like I could talk to somebody. Like he really emphasized that. And so you say it this week. So for the listeners, that is a very, very important thing to be able to do for veterans. You walked in my shoes. I walked in your shoes. I could tell my friends who weren't in the military, but they can't relate. And I use the analogy like I did in the last episode. I'm a recovering alcoholic, 32 years, and I can only talk to another alcoholic. They understand. Other veterans understand. So that's a great program. So do you have one standout story of a veteran that came to the VA and you took it from beginning to end?
A couple of them. One of the ones that stand out, I have this veteran that served the Coast Guard. And what happened to him, he wasn't really into the combat. He actually had like a car accident. And while he was serving, because he was serving, now he qualified for VA benefits and all that. But when he got out, he was lost. Nothing to happen. He got a traumatic brain injury. We don't know how to approach him because he was in combat. He does qualify for VA, and now he's lost. How we deal with him? I used to talk to his family. I talked to his family. I connected with the care that he needs. I did connecting with the doctor. We have a TBI, traumatic brain injury clinic. He was referred to that, and they accepted him in that program. They're also connecting with other services. For example, it's a chamber that you go in for oxygen. So he was connected with all that. And all that happened because I was able to talk to the family because he couldn't understand what I was saying. He got so much trauma that he couldn't speak. So we spoke with the family. I connected with my team. My team have other expertise, the clinical expertise, and we were able to connect him with the care that he needs. Now he's going back to his hometown because of all the things that we have done. That was for me special because you're talking about a 19-year-old that served since he was 17, and now he have no motion on his body because he got this accident. What do you do after that? You're young. So we were able to connect him with all the care that he deserved because he was connected to us by his liaison. And for me, that was amazing. That's for the post 9/11 program. A lot of the other things that I did was in Habash. I spent more time in Habash than any other program. 6 years in there. Then I've been here for 3. Habash, every day was amazing because you can see a veteran living in the woods out there asking for money in the corner. I'm a vet. I need a quarter or whatever. And I used to get them in my van, go to a food pantry, go take a shower. VA have showers for them, get me food. They have a clothing closet. The veteran got clothes. Guess what? I went back. Finding a house in Florida is like finding a job. So you have to go for the interview. I got him to get him a shower. He shaved. He cleaned himself. We went there. Guess what? He got the apartment. That was one of his best days of his life. He was for 15 years homeless. This guy, when he got the apartment, he couldn't sleep inside the apartment. He's sleeping in the outside because that's where he felt comfortable. But he was getting mugged all the time. He was getting robbed. So he needed to be in a safe place, and that was his wake-up call. And right now, that veteran is sleeping inside his house. And those are little things that you don't see. But for them, it's amazing. 15, 20 years outside, then you have your apartment. You can live there. Now you live in your balcony because you feel the balcony is safer than your room. And now, after many, many years of treatment, the veteran now is sleeping in his own bed. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
And that was because of you.
Yeah, we started somehow.
In the VA, but
VA.
Yeah.
Having that, person to go out there and check their hand and say, we're going to take care of you.
Let them pay attention to them.
Yeah.
See them.
Listen to them.
And listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that. Anybody that talks to me on the street, I'll listen. I will talk to anybody. And I've seen people ignore people like that. But I say, you might be the only conversation they have in a week.
Forever.
Yeah. I mean, you might be the only one to talk to them. Mm-hmm. So, and see, that's what happens. Sometimes out of everything bad comes something good.
That's right.
I firmly believe that. Again, with you, out of everything bad comes something good.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing is sitting at the table with us right now, your wife. She's getting a lot of kudos tonight. She earned it.
So the main thing, again, one of the things we're talking about is a lot of the veterans that we see and recover is because they have a strong support system. Without a support system, you probably going to go back to the old ways because you don't have that wall or that thing to lay down. I'm fortunate enough that I can lay on her and she can lay on me, and we can support each other. But a lot of people don't have that, and that's a big change in their life. The most successful story I ever saw in the VA was people with support systems. And maybe their family, maybe their dog. Sometimes it's just the dog, but they have that. A lot of them don't have the support system. They gave up. And that's what we hear. That's why we are doing things like this, podcasts like this, because we want to reach our boys out there and say, we're here for you. You serve your country. Now we're here to serve you.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about this. This isn't a question and this isn't a trap question. This just dawned on me. You see a lot of hard stuff, man.
I did.
And you still do, right? In your job, you see some hard stuff. Well,
no, nothing compared to Iraq, but
exactly.
In the community here is a little different.
Yeah.
But again, it's the sad and the good and how we cope with life. And that was my hardest thing, trying to cope with life, with my family, with my job, what to do with. And now what I do is I tell my story. Yeah. I seen that telling my story have helped a lot of the guys because they found faith. That's one of the last things you lose. What it is, hope.
Yeah.
So you lose hope, you lose everything. And within us, suicide prevention, family engagement, that's when we try to bring that hope back on people.
And that's why this podcast isn't just, and we talked about this before the podcast, this isn't just like, hey, tell us about your job, right?
Yeah.
I want to know about you because you are the one that makes the difference. The VA is the vehicle. It's the platform. Mm-hmm. It's your backup. It's your support. But it's you that does the work. And it's you that makes the difference. And your story is a big factor in that.
Yeah.
And I think people need to hear more stories like this. Like we said, okay, if we were talking about your job, this podcast would have been over 8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
What I mean? It would have been nice. Hey, this is a great program. But the VA took you under their wing. They took you in, and you paid it back. And now you're paying it forward.
But most of the things that we say at the VA is most people have their own story.
Yeah.
Here, most everybody is a peer themselves. You went to a situation, and now you don't want other people to go to the same situation you were.
Right.
And that's the core of the peer. We plant seeds on people. We tell them, things are gonna get better. And then from there, you start talking to them and go slowly on their own pace. And then you bring in things and connecting with things that work for you. Maybe they're going to work for them. You never know until they try.
And the VA offers a lot.
They have that.
It's amazing how much they offer.
The VA is actually a research center as well. So they do research for evidence-based trainings that we didn't know we can do. And what happened, the community used those to treat their own patients. But who did it first? The VA did. Right. This is the things like PTSD, evidence-based therapy that they did. I went to almost all of them. I'm telling you, they work in a way that is like special because you will never be able to tell your story unless you have a professional like that can actually put it all together. Their evidence trainings that they do and the therapy that they do has been amazing and been helped me and a lot of people as well.
So needless to say, after the last 29 minutes, right, we know the VA changed your life like it changed my life. So I always give credit to the VA because they're the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
They're the platform. So we know that it changed your life. What do you say to veterans that, and I was one of them, to the veterans that are on the fence about the VA and, whatever they think or their perception is? What do you say to them about the VA?
So it's hard. When I remember back when I was in the military, when my sergeant did this job, he says that he put a whiteboard and he put a dot in that white door. And he told me, what do you see in the whiteboard? A dot. And he asked me, where's everything, all the whiteboard? You just focus on the dot. So what that told me was one situation will not make your whole story. So if you are there and you need VA services and probably you were denied before, try it again. A lot of things have changed. My first interaction with the VA, 2006, wasn't pleasant. But in 2010, when I went back, it was beautiful. You never know when you're going to need it. Give you a chance. Be vulnerable sometimes. And you don't want to be vulnerable with your family, come to the VA, talk to somebody. It's always going to be somebody to listen to you. Might not be the first person that you talk to, but there's somebody in the VA that will be there to help you and listen to you. You never know. your life might change. Give you a chance.
And that's coming from firsthand experience.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Jose, man, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. This was a great, great interview. I learned something. I try to learn something every interview with everybody I talk to. I learned a lot more than I thought I was going to learn today. So thank you for that. Thank you to your lovely wife for coming with you and supporting you, right?
Always.
Right. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or the VA or the program that you're with, the transitional program, how do they do it?
In order to get in our program, first you might get referred by the liaisons. You're going through that process right now. But if you're already out of the military and you're civilian, you got to come to the enrollment, or you just call me, 561-859-1771. Best way is to come to the hospital to make sure that we can get you enrolled. But if you are there, I can come to you. You live in Palm Beach County, I can come to you. So you give me a call, I will try my best to help you. That's the two ways. Main preferred way, come to the VA, because you might need more than me in the VA, and it's centralized. You don't have to come to West Palm. You can go to any of the CBOC clinic and ask to speak with your social worker.
So they would just make an appointment with who at the VA?
The social workers.
The social worker.
Every person in the VA, as long as you have a doctor, you have an assigned social worker. That social worker would do all the things that I do.
There you go.
I focus more in the community out there, but my end job will be connecting to them. So again, every veteran have a social worker. Let them speak with the social worker. They can connect me with them if they need to or not.
And once again, this is Jose Lopez Rodriguez. He's a transitional patient advocate. That's who they want to ask for, right?
Yes.
Transitional patient advocate. And then they fall into hopefully your hands or another qualified transitional patient advocate, I'm sure. So we built another bridge today. If you like this podcast, share it. Share it. Whether it's on the podcast platform or the YouTube platform. If there's an option to follow or subscribe, well, hit that button. And please listen all the way to the end. I just added a very informative public service announcement at the end of the podcast. So wait about 40 seconds past the outro and listen to the public service announcement. You won't regret it. And as I always say, you'll hear me again next Monday.
The VetsConnection podcast is produced by Scott McLean at the KOFB studio in Boca Raton, Florida. If you would like to connect with us, visit our website at www.vetsconnectpodcast.com. If you have an idea for an episode or would like to be a guest on the podcast, you can email us at vetsconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. If you or someone you know is in crisis and needs immediate help, call 911 Emergency Services or go to the nearest emergency room. Or call or text 988 to connect with the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Also, if you are in need of essential community services, call 211. 211 is a free and confidential service that helps people find resources for food, housing, employment, healthcare, mental health and substance abuse resources, legal assistance, counseling, youth programs, household items, and much more.